Saying that I was excited to try this game is beyond an understatement. The idea of a pick-your-own-adventure kind of experience to me sounded right up my alley. But did this game deliver, or was I left hoping for better? Let's just get right on with it and find out. So what is exactly Stories: The Path of Destinies? Well, it's an action RPG developed by a Montreal-based independent studio called Spearhead Games. This was the first ever game I played by them and left me hopeful for their next releases. So let's start with the focus of this game, the story. You play as Renardo, an anthropomorphic fox that retired after a dying wish from his mother. One day, his town is attacked by an evil emperor that has gone mad with power and ambition for eternal life, and his Skrull army. You take control as Renardo is chasing a young boy wielding a book. He plans to hand it to the rebels, but Renardo had promised the kid's mother that he would protect him, so he wasn't very keen on letting him do that. The kid ends up dead, and our fox buddy collects the book and soon discovers that with it he can go back and choose another path to his story. Here is where the story truly begins. There are a total of 25 endings, including a true happy ending. To achieve this true ending, you must find 4 great truths that don't ever change no matter what path you take. You will very quickly find them. As a matter of fact, if you don't go for extra endings, this game is extremely short, but I highly recommend watching all 25. The standout for me was the writing and narration throughout. I found the narrative to be excellent and very humorous, with plenty of dark humor and references, but none of the writing would be anything without the superb narration. This entire story is told to us by the same person that does everyone's voices and its own. This narrator absolutely nailed it and made even the steelbook-like images in between choices feel more alive, and for that I commend you, Mr. Narrator.
Tell you what, said Lupino. I'll take it to the observatory. You attack the Imperial outpost. The Imperial outpost was a vital communications node. Taking it could shatter the Empire's ability to coordinate. And it would be full of secret plans and maps and maybe even rebel prisoners.
That's as far as I will go on the story though, as honestly, this is the entire reason to play this game. Let's start on the other major elements, which are the combat and exploration. The exploration is somewhat limited. You see, the game is separated into a few small levels that repeat over and over again. Although at first it seems like they have a lot of places to explore and find, you quickly discover that this is more of an illusional freedom, and all roads still lead to the same end place. This doesn't mean that exploration isn't rewarded though. There are a few scrolls to read that flesh out the lore of the world, and there are always chests with either resources or gems for your gloved thing. The locales are very beautiful to look at and they are well designed. Also, since you will be replaying them again and again, it is nice that they can be beaten in 2 to 3 minutes each. You can also craft and upgrade 4 different hero swords, and each of them has its own ability. The green one can grant you health. The ice one freezes enemies, the fire one burns enemies, and the wind one makes your sword swings faster. Naturally, these powers aren't free and have an energy bar that depletes every time you use them. Luckily, it's very easy to get this energy back, even breaking random objects scattered throughout the environment. This is also where the resources from the chests come into play, as you need ore and the respective essence of each sword to upgrade them. Without these swords, you can't access certain parts of the maps, since there are usually specific doors to secondary paths that only open with a certain sword. The red bigger chests also have these gems that you add to your glove. There is only half a dozen or so of these, and they only reach level 3. All you must do to upgrade them is collect a repeated one. You can have 3 equipped at any time, and after I found a setup that worked for my playstyle, I never really changed them. These tend to give you boosts to combat and extra defense or extra offense. The combat itself is quite simplistic, but it all flows in a nice and fast way that can make the encounters feel exciting even when you've been playing for a couple of hours. You have the basic sword slash, a grappling hook that can bring enemies closer to you, a counter attack when you time it with your enemy's attack, a dash attack that can stun your enemies, and the before mentioned sword specific abilities that can be swapped mid-combat. As I said, it's simple stuff but works well. Combat also has a combo meter and a report card in the end of each fight. The better you do, the more experience you get. After a certain amount, you level up, which in turn gives you a point to upgrade your moves. Now, I'm not going to go through them or anything, but they make an easy game easier, and there's some very fun ones that make dispatching the enemies a breeze. The music is very good and very complementary to the situations, and overall I think sound design is spot on. However, some of the dialogue and text didn't match, and sometimes the text just wouldn't show up when there was dialogue. That's just a pet peeve of mine, so I was very upset with it. Sadly, this was not the only problem I encountered with the game. In some spots the frame rate would just dip for no apparent reason on my PS4, and I have to be honest that going for all trophies is not worth it, and after all stories were cleared, I still had to grind to get the last few upgrades, and this I do not recommend to anyone. I also found the game to be ridiculously easy, and the stealth parts with the eye enemies to be an annoying speed bump more than anything else. I would have to say though, despite being a repetitive and simplistic game, it managed to get me engaged until the end of its tale. Just keep in mind, after seeing all the endings, there is no need, and I would really urge you not to continue playing, unless you're crazy for trophies or something, as after that point it wasn't as fun anymore. Definitely check this one out if you're into multiple paths and pick your own adventure type things. Makes me wonder if this game would have done better if it just had a less generic, better name. That's it from me, thank you for watching. If you enjoy, leave a like and consider subscribing for more. Until next time.